There's a fire behind the VA. The fire was started by a homeless veteran. The veteran's actually been homeless for years, but because of Sally Hemmett, that's sally.hemmett@va.gov. She's a part of the corruption here with Thomas Saffron. They stole a bunch of money to build these houses for veterans. And look, that guy's been homeless for years. He was out in the tent on the sidewalk. Can you believe that? He was out in the tent. That's Sally Hemmett. Hey, bro, are you okay? Hey, you've been homeless for years, right? You've been homeless for years, right? And you've been asking Sally Hemmett for help, and Sally Hemmett won't help you. Why are you doing that, officer? That man don't have the mental capacity to be investigated. Yeah, you guys shouldn't be asking him any questions. He's very mentally ill. That's sally.hemmett@va.gov. That's who's a part of the corruption here. That and Robert Merchant. Robert Merchant and Sally Hemmett. That veteran's been homeless for years out on the streets. Very mentally ill. This could have been your neighborhood, Brentwood. This could have been your neighborhood. This guy's trying to stay warm, and he started a dumpster fire because of Sally Hemmett. That's who's in charge of all the homeless people at the VA, but she takes money from Thomas Saffron. She's very corrupt. We can't talk to her or ask her for help. This guy's been asking Sally Hemmett. You heard him say he asked Sally Hemmett for help. Sally Hemmett doesn't want to help anyone. Sally Hemmett just wants to make money. That's sally.hemmett@va.gov. That's Sally Hemmett@va.gov. And they shouldn't be asking that guy any questions. He's mentally ill. But this is what happens when the VA leadership is corrupt and doesn't want to do their jobs. You see that woman right there? That's the property manager for building for John Stewart. What's up? What's that? Hear it? No, I got an alert on my phone, so I wanted to go check it out. What's that? No, it was one of the homeless guys started a fire in the dumpster. The really nice guy, though, he's really nice. Yeah, I feel bad for him. He's been homeless for years out here. That's the property manager. Let's see what they're saying. That's Sally Hemmett. So they got rid of Sally Hemmett. We don't have case management here. Case management, you're paying $40 million a year to the John Stewart Company to do case management, but they don't have wraparound services here. And this is the result of that. That's because there's a lot of corruption going on here, and they're making a lot of money off your taxes. That's Robert Merchant and Sally Hemmett. They make a lot of money off of your taxes, but they don't take care of veterans, and this is the result. This could have been in the community. Don't believe me? Look it up on MrCheckpoint.com. Follow him on Instagram. Look at the corruption that goes on here at the VA. This is the result, the end result of that corruption. Look at the security guard filming. That's sally.hemmett@va.gov. That's the person at the VA that's in charge. When you see those homeless tents out there on the sidewalk, that's who you email. She's in charge of all the homeless people. The problem is that she's very corrupt. That woman is very, very corrupt. They don't want to help veterans, because if they help veterans, the veterans would stay here and bring the property value down. So what they do is they don't support us or help us with anything. We can't get jobs here. We can't go back to school, or we lose our housing. If we go to school or get a job, we lose our housing. And that's Robert Merchant that's responsible for that. Robert Merchant and Sally Hemmett. Did you know they're building a homeless shelter at the Armory here on this property? They're going to be opening a homeless shelter with 160 beds, not for veterans, but for the homeless people of West Los Angeles. They're going to funnel them all here on the train, and there's going to be a shelter here. And that's sally.hemmett@va.gov. Sally's in charge of all the homeless people at the VA, but she doesn't like to do her job. She doesn't like veterans. Sally Hemmett and Robert Merchant hate veterans. They absolutely hate veterans. They deny us treatment. I have 18 months in combat. They won't let me go to treatment. They denied my treatment application at the domiciliary. So there's a place here where I can get treatment, but they won't allow us to go to treatment. We can't get work, or we lose our housing. We can't go back to school full time, or we lose housing. It's a really bad situation for the veterans here because of sally.hemmett@va.gov. Robert.merchant2@va.gov. Those are the people in charge of the VA. These people are taking $50 million a year for just 100 veterans to get case management, and there's no case management. No wraparound services. These people work for the John Stewart Company. The John Stewart Company took over for Step Up on Second for the property manager, but they didn't fire any of the staff. They just changed names, and they don't do anything. They don't provide any case management. They don't help us when we need help finding jobs. They won't help us with educational resources. They won't help us with anything. What they will do is they will things like this continue to happen. The man that did that, he's a veteran. I know that guy. The guy that did that, he was out on the sidewalk 4 years. They won't house him because he can't pay rent. UCLA doesn't have to pay rent. If you don't believe me, look it up. UCLA didn't pay rent here for $600,000 until the news came out. Google it, Spectrum News. UCLA didn't pay rent at the VA, but the veterans that don't pay rent, they get evicted. Those veterans, they get evicted. But the veterans here, we can't get medical treatment. We can't get help with anything. They treat us really badly, actually. It's sad. Things are just going to get worse. The reason things are going to get worse is because there's going to be 4,000 veterans living here, and they're going to be stealing all the money that comes here for the veterans, and it's going to get bad. The veterans aren't going to get the care that they deserve or need and that they're entitled to for their services, and it's going to get bad up here because of sally.hemmett@va.gov. My name is Robert. I'm a combat veteran. Iraq, 18 fucking months, and they won't put me into treatment here. They don't care if you have PTSD. They don't care if you want to be sober. They just want us dead or gone so that they can steal your tax dollars. All this is an effort to steal your money. This is what happened when greedy corporations like Step Up on Second, it's John Stewart Company. If you don't believe me, you can go to Mr. Checkpoint on YouTube, and you'll see that these buildings here are on YouTube. They're on Mr. Checkpoint's YouTube YouTube channel and Instagram. There's advocates that come here to fight for the veterans. Poor guy. Yeah. Let's go see what happened to the veteran. Inquiring minds want to know. He's very schizophrenic. I know him. He's a good guy, though. Very nice, very polite. That's how I know he's a good guy, because he's very, very sick, and he's never gotten mad. Very soft-spoken, very gentle person. He's been here for a while. That's Officer Horn. Horne. Very good memory with these police. I've dealt with all of them, actually. He's not one of the worst ones, actually. For some reason, this is the police officer that shows up when people die. Yeah, so what's going on basically is that they're building these houses for veterans, but it's not the VA building it, it's the private contractors. And the VA uses the police force to trespass us and get us out of here so we can't get services or treatment. So that's Thomas Saffron, U.S. vets. If you guys know Spock on Star Trek, Spock's dad, he built some of the buildings here, and he's stealing the money too. His dad was an actor. It was on To Kill a Mockingbird. His name is Gregory Peck. And now his son is Spock on TV. And he built that housing over there. And that's all, yeah, stolen. And this is what happened. This is a result of that stealing of money and land. Is you got guys like that should be in a hospital or being taken care of by the VA. Instead of being taken care of, he has to go in a dumpster and light it on fire to stay warm because of the corruption. That's sally.hemmett@va.gov. That's the email for the lady that runs the homeless program at the VA. So when you have a tent in your backyard, right there in San Vicente, Sally Hemmett and Robert Merchant. Robert.Merchant2. He has a number 2 behind his name. Robert.Merchant2@va.gov. That's the guy that runs the VA. That's the senior leadership here. And there's 300 people watching. So you should email Sally Hemmett and Robert Merchant. See that veteran in there? That's the guy that caught the dumpster on fire. Because they won't help him. They don't give him services. What happens is if you come here and ask for help, the police come and they trespass you. Or they put you in handcuffs. I tried taking a shower once and they wouldn't let me. That's when that guy showed up, Officer Horn. That's how I know his name. That was like 4 years ago. I couldn't take a shower and they called the cops on me. That's how I know his name. That's what it's like here for veterans. No support, no help. But 20 cops will show up making $75,000 a piece. Sally Hemmett and Robert Merchant live on a mansion. They live on a mansion here on the property. So does the chief of police. Have you seen those mansions on Wilshire? Those mansions belong to the VA leadership. Those plantation homes, they belong to the VA leadership. But the homeless vets sleep on the streets. Oh, he can't get out because everyone's in the way. The homeless vets, they sleep on the street. Let's see if we can get him a shot of him. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him because he's a really nice guy. But at the same time, this might help him. This might help his plight. That guy's been sick for years. Hey. That would have been funny. Yeah, guys, feel free to go. Oh, 420 viewers. I want to thank the 420th person in here. I'm a heavy weed smoker myself because of the stress. When we asked to go to rehab here, we can't go to rehab. They have a rehab center here. I was in combat for 18 months. They won't let me into the rehab center. Imagine that. I have a college degree, but they won't help me get a job. If we go to work full time, we lose our housing. If we go to college full time, we lose our housing. Daly, I knew you weren't retiring. Yeah. Oh shit.
Robert, be careful.
Yeah, I better get down. Yeah, so that was a homeless guy that started the fire in there. I hate to call him homeless. He's a veteran. It's sad because he was here when the tents were out in the sidewalk. He was there. So how come he hasn't been housed yet? And we see him. We give him food. I mean, I help him out. I've never let him stay in my apartment, but I see him around all the time. I give him food and cigarettes when I can. But the taxpayer is also paying a lot of money for these people to be housed here. So how come he's in the back of a cop car? That's sad, you know? That's Sally Hemmett. Sally.Hemmett. If you guys hear, if you see homeless people in your neighborhood, that's who you email. It's Sally.Hemmett@va.gov. And then her boss, the supervisor of the VA, that's Robert.Merchant@va.gov. Robert.Merchant2. And that's the lady, she's the property manager. She actually lives here, but she's not a veteran. She's a property manager for a company called John Stewart. John Stewart got replaced by Step Up. You can Google Step Up, and then let's see what she's saying. Yeah, Google John Stewart, or I'm sorry, Step Up. So that's right. The corruption at the VA is going to spill over into your community. It's not the veterans' fault. The veterans that come here want help. They want treatment for drugs and alcohol. I'm a struggling alcoholic. I'm begging to get into treatment. My sobriety is there. Do you think the VA cares? No. They want us dead. They want us gone so they could steal this land and rent it out to UCLA and the Brentwood School. That's what it is. That veteran has been there since the tents on San Vicente. He doesn't deserve to be in the back of that police car. He should be in his own apartment being treated. He's got schizophrenia really bad. I've talked to him. You've probably seen him out on the street before. Let's see if I can get a view of him. He's been homeless for a long time here. Yeah, this is crazy how much money these people steal from the veterans. So the entire property was actually donated by the Bandini family. You can look it up online. It's 300 acres right here in West Los Angeles. It makes it right next to Bel Air, so it makes it the most valuable property in America, basically. And because it belongs to veterans, everybody wants to steal it. If you go online right now, they're building a homeless shelter at the end of the property for 160 people that aren't veterans. There's going to be 160 homeless people in West LA at the homeless shelter here on this property when they could be housing veterans here. That's Sally.Hemet at VA. Sally's in charge of the homeless program here, and she doesn't like veterans. Sally hates veterans. She's not. They might be talking about her. That's Sally Hemet. She hates veterans. That's her job. So you guys are paying $1 billion a year comes here in taxes. $1 billion a year come here in taxes. And the billion goes right out the door to Sally Hemet's friends. $1 billion a year. $1 billion a year and your taxes come here. And this is the end result. $1 billion a year being stolen from veterans. $1 billion a year. That's what comes through here. If you don't believe me, go to MrCheckpoint.com. Check out UCLA. UCLA dumped a bunch of radioactive waste back there. Right back there, there's a bunch of radioactive waste because of UCLA. And I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to film you, bro. That's fucked up. They're gonna take him to jail. They're gonna take him to jail. Imagine that. Imagine what you could do with $1 billion. That's how much goes through here. $1 billion a year. So $1 billion a year comes here from your taxpayer money. All this right here, this was all built by this guy named Stephen Peck that does US Vets in a company called Time of Saffron. Stephen Peck, his dad, you might have seen him on a movie called To Kill a Mockingbird when you were in school. Gregory Peck, that's his dad. And now also the actor Spock, that's his dad. The actor Spock is his dad. He built those buildings there. And $1 billion a year comes through here and they steal it. And that guy's been in a tent on San Vicente for years. And look, now he's going to jail because he started a fire in a dumpster because he was cold. It was a little windy earlier. Poor veterans. The veterans deserve better than Sally Hemet and Robert Merchant. If you don't believe me, go to YouTube, type in Type in Mr. Checkpoint. Type in Mr. Checkpoint on YouTube and check out what the police do to the veterans here. Type in Mr. Checkpoint. Type in what the VA police does to us. They beat us. This could be your community tomorrow when there's 4,000 of us here and Sally Hemmett and Robert Merchant want to steal your money, your taxpayer money. These veterans are going to overflow in the street. And then what? Then they're going to blame the veterans. All right, folks. Have a good night. The veterans deserve better than Jon Stewart. They deserve better than Sally Hemmett and Robert Merchant. This is Death and Corruption. Can be captured and seen at Mr. Checkpoint's videos on YouTube and Instagram. Follow Mr. Checkpoint on Instagram. I have to respond to someone because the veteran got arrested and we want to try to help him out as much as possible. I got to call Mr. Robert Reynolds and see if he can help him.